Before we start, I need to go do a fucking piss. So I'll be back in a second.
Oh God, I hate today. Oh,
I'm gonna piss out of my penis.
God damn it, Gino. Go piss out of your penis.
It is. It's gonna make my foreskin wobble a bit when it comes out.
I didn't even know about
Just go do it. Don't tell us about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's such a great life.
My cat was chewing on my microphone, so I don't know.
Punch that cat in the neck.
Oh,
Honestly.
my fucking cat. Oh, Jesus Christ. My cat kept me up. It kept, like, climbing on the bed and, like, cleaning itself. And I was like, get the fuck off the bed. You're keeping me up. And it kept climbing back on because the cat does not respect people. And then I went to bed and I had a dream that my house was full of feral cats and they were, like, clawing me and shit. It fucking sucked.
Brilliant. My cat's going to ruin I got sent one of those PlayStation 3D monitors to review. And it's
you did?
Yeah, it's literally the most...
The one they announced? No, tell me. The one they announced at E3? That one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It's literally the most reflective thing in the world. And the cat keeps attacking it. Like, she is going after a fucking shiny $500 screen. Just bashing at it because she thinks it is another cat to hit. So that's going to be scratched to fuck.
You didn't like that TV, did you?
It's not that I didn't like it, it's that it literally has no use. It's
is that the one that has the cool split screen thing though? Where two people...
The simul view, yeah. It does simul view, so two people can see a different thing on the screen, so they got a full screen to themselves doing co-op. Great idea. I doubt many games will make use of it. So far it's like Killzone 3.
Like develop it with that in mind?
Yeah, I think so. There's so far it only works with Killzone 3, Gran Turismo, and Motorstorm, and that's it. So, who knows if that's going to...
It's such a cool idea, but it seems dumb to put something like that on like a 24-inch or however big it is screen.
That's my point. That is my entire point. It's like Sony brought out this screen to show off 3D, but how are you going to show off the majesty of Uncharted 3 on a 24-inch screen? This is a 24-inch screen. But
Jim, it's for college dorm rooms for the children who have like all this money to spend, even though it's...
But just not a lot of space. Yeah, they got money, but not space is the idea. I think. And Japanese
that's basically what I said in the review. It's like the only use is for frat boys and people in like one-room apartments who should be saving their money if they're living in a one-room apartment. They shouldn't be spending $500 to play Uncharted 3 in a little 24-inch screen.
Yeah, man, I bought a fucking 42-inch TV. It makes up half my fucking living room. So
I was very close to buying a 70-inch HD TV. But
God.
Yeah, they actually got up to 80. They haven't got that in the Best Buy yet, but I'm trying not to look at it because then I'll want it. But I'm settling on a 65-inch, which will have 3D on it, so I can put it on for 5 minutes and say that is a thing, and then throw the glasses in a river and never do 3D again.
Wow!
But it'll be useful.
Yes.
It'll be useful to try because I've warmed a little to 3D. I'm still cynical about it. I still don't believe it's the future when it is actually the past, but slightly better. But since I got the computer and been testing Nvidia's 3D, it's cool. It's cool. It's not something you can keep doing because then your eyes bleed and bones start jutting out of it from your broken skull, which literally happens. But it's cool. I was very cynical of it at first, and now I'm only a bit cynical. And I still will not watch a movie that has 3D written in it, in the title, because then I know they're just gonna throw swords and bullets at the screen.
What about Shark Night?
Even
3D?
Piranha 3D?
I ain't watching. No, because it would just be a guy going like that, but then picking up piranhas and just tossing them like shurikens at the camera. Just,
that sounds fun.
There's naked chicks flying at the camera.
Only the lamest movies get made into 3D anyway, like Happy Feet 2.
It's because it's because you can't.
It's like children's movies.
You can't.
Martin Scorsese has. You can't what now?
You can't write a 3D movie because There can't be any story because you've got to make room for all the slow motion action shots of swords being thrown at the camera. Like every 3D film has like half. If you played those 3D moments at normal speed, those films would be 40 minutes long at best because it's all slow motion throwing like shurikens and swords and knives and things at the camera all the time.
Jim, you're making me want to go see a 3D movie right now.
A 3D
Yeah,
movie.
you're actually selling them on it.
They shouldn't be called 3D movies. They should be called eye circuses. And then I'd go.
Oh God, that would be incredible! An eye circus.
Eye circus. But I wouldn't watch like that new Conan. It was like I might go watch that new Conan, see if there are tits in it, like in the first one. Haha, big old tits. But then it was like, it'll be in 3D. And then I was like, well, then it's just going to be slow motion fucking swords. So, and I've seen slow motion swords. That's the thing. I saw them in fucking Resident Evil, that one with the swords. Is the full title of that film.
Fourth one, I think.
Something
Martin Scorsese.
Resident Evil. It always ends with something Asians now. Revelations. Tribulation.
Yeah, they do like Asians.
Ejaculate.
Yeah. Well, there was Apocalypse.
You see that thing I said where I was like, what if, whenever I see like an email that starts with RE, in the subject, like regarding, I just pretend that's the title of the next Resident Evil movie. Like Resident Evil holiday plans. Resident Evil, you have 2 new clout notifications.
Nah.
I was gonna say Martin Scorsese has a 3D movie that people say is really good. It's
Martin
called
Scorsese.
Hugo. Yep, it's about the guy who's.
What?
It's called Hugo. It's about the guy who really pioneered the way modern films are made before, Hitchcock and before Orson Welles and stuff like that. Looks pretty good.
In Scorsese's version, there's going to be a lot of people throwing swords at each other. So that we can have it in... Like, I pioneered this film. I have put it on the end of this sword, which I will now give to you by thrusting the sword at your face. Pick it up at the end of the sword and then put it in a film reel.
I heard he's legit. I heard he really liked 3D as a good filmmaker and tried to actually make it part of the movie that makes it more worthwhile. So who knows? I mean, it can be used well. It just isn't often.
It's like you can't have a 3D romantic comedy or a 3D fucking War and Peace 3D.
You could.
Well,
I'd watch it.
Could, but... I'm sitting down and talking for a bit in 3D.
Sure, that teacup would look real close.
You
to
can
your face.
really see the scotch going into the glass as if you're actually in it. That's
my argument for Blu-ray. It's like I don't need to see, Will Ferrell movies in HD. I don't understand why that's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't care about his pores. It could.
Well, that's when it gets gimmicky.
Yeah, but
sure.
Will Ferrell literally sweats humour. So you watch it and you see all the comedy leaking from every pulsating pore in his face. And it makes the film funnier because you're like, I can see all this extra comedy, Will Ferrell.
You know what makes Will Ferrell movies
comedy.
even funnier? It's when people at parties quote them.
You know what?
Oh, I love that.
You know what? When I'm at a party, I sometimes get really fucking pissed and demand to go home if people aren't quoting Will Ferrell movies. If people aren't saying things like 1, 2, 3 Velociraptor from Step Brothers, I will literally throw my glass on the floor and say, "Wife, we are fucking going home." Nobody has said a Will Ferrell movie. Nobody has even mentioned Blades of Glory. I'm looking on this cunt's shelf and Anchorman isn't on it. We are fucking going home! Gonna go home that fucking one where they live on a campus and he is funny in it.
Old school.
Old school, thank you.
Your anger reminded me of my new favorite thing.
What?
When you're listening to the BBC News on your radio,
Mm-hmm.
and they usually are taking an interview from the Middle East during one of the problems there. And there's a guy who's like, and they cut to the translator, and he's like, well, the problem is, we're upset with government. We don't think, like the man is screaming, or he'll be in the streets like, "Oh, and then the translator is just like, "Yeah, we don't want this guy in charge anymore. We simply want him out of the picture." Like the mismatch there makes me think.
Let's cut back to that man in the Middle East. What was he saying again?
Well, he's like, there's the upset, high-pitched man who's not in a riot, but just passionate. And then there's the guy who's in the midst of the riot, who they're just interviewing.
Yeah.
And he's,
Awesome. Right.
But the translator, my point
Yeah.
is that they get to do the interpretation of the Vic does not match the passions. In his,
Okay. Jonathan Holmes. Well done. That was literally the most racist thing that's ever been done on Podtoid.
Oh, good.
I think so. I mean, we can probably get a permanent marker or draw a beard on you and say it's okay because you're one of them, and they won't know because we don't know what race you are.
What the fuck ethnicity are you?
But otherwise, wow, Jonathan Holmes. I don't know where to go from there.
I mean, no disrespect.
I don't know. I don't mean no disrespect.
No disrespect. But,
all right, okay. Do you want to do some wacky Japanese people now?
I've done that before, sure. Nothing new.
Wow, okay.
That might be Japanese, too.
Fuck it. Let's throw some sexism in as well. Do you want to? Anything you want to say about women and their vaginas?
Well, that's the thing.
Oh my goodness! I have a vagina. Sorry, I'm not good
someone
at it.
today accused me of having a vagina, and I took it as a compliment.
It would
That would not be bad.
Just behind the testicles. Just a little.
That's such a weird thing to take as a compliment. Like, oh, you have a vagina. Thank you. I wish I had a vagina. Like, what do you? What?
Why wouldn't you want one? Where's the downside?
I've always said that honestly. Like, if I woke up one day and I was like, if I'm a boy, I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote a column about this for the school paper. But like, I mean, being a guy is so retardedly easy. You know, if I woke up one day and I was a woman, I would be dead within like 2 months. Like, I would get pregnant.
What makes you say that? What's so difficult about being a woman? Like the upkeep?
Yeah, after being a guy for 25 years. Like.
Yeah, but women
take
have.
My word for it. This is by no means. I mean, this is essentially saying that I can't. I'm like. It's like building a PC, sort of. You know, like I'm like, oh man, like I have respect for people who can do that, but like I'm not. I don't think I can attempt that right now. It's like if I woke up one day and I was like, oh wow, like I have a menstrual cycle and I have
that part sucks.
Like vehement hormones and the ability to get pregnant. Like I would be fucking dead within 2 months.
Yeah,
like,
there are very easy fixes for that though.
The thing that's always gotten me though is how do you instantly know all the lyrics to "I Will Survive"?
Oh, that's just because I was raised by a single mom. No, the thing is though is like. You have to realize that like I have cut my head open because I was peeing in a backyard. Like that's
what?
Like
how did you do that?
That's happened. I've injured myself peeing in backyards numerous times.
Like what? Where did you? How did the cut? How did the penis and the head come together to form a wound?
They didn't. It's like this is a thing that guys do. It's like girls are like, man, I wish I could go pee outside. And it's like, yeah, it's awesome. And I'm like, yeah, it's so easy. I just walk outside. I'm like, hello, rose bush. I'm gonna pee on you. And then I fucking run into something and I'm bleeding out the head. I'm not even joking. I have pictures. Like that's a thing.
That might not be so much like a microcosm of being a man as it is just being dumb.
I'm not that dumb though.
But
you cut your head open while peeing in a rose bush.
I feel like you know when you go from like working like a really fucking easy or a really fucking like hard intense job and then you have suddenly a really easy job and you're like, so what next? And they're like, well, we're done for the day. You want to hang out? And it's like, you mean we don't have to just stand here and look busy? It's like, no, we can just hang out, read books. Do you want to read books? You go from working at like I don't know, like McDonald's to working at like a lazy independent record store or something, and it's like, so we can just chill. Yeah, you want to order lunch? You know, it's like that. Except
So that's your life now.
that's what it'd be like for a girl becoming a guy. I think they'd be like, so wait, I don't have to buy any like products to maintain upkeep. Like, I just like that's it. Like, there's no, you know. And it's like guys don't even have to get prostate exams anymore, apparently.
You did just compare all women to McDonald's workers, though.
Jim is finding a way to...
like, you know, and it's like, it can't be fun, because it's like, instead of it being like, hey, women like fucking gave birth to everyone on the planet, we should like respect them and be nice to them. Instead it's like, hey, let's objectify them and be fucking juvenile, and then go outside and pee in the rose bushes and cut our heads open on basketball hoops because we're fucking retarded. Like,
I do know that. I mean, that was what the suffragette movement was all about, to stop men pissing on rose bushes and cutting their heads open.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure if women had a choice in giving birth, they wouldn't. Also,
most I know,
something that we got stuck with.
Sure. And most
men, a lot of
dudes
who want to.
Well, most men would foolishly choose it because they saw Junior in the 90s and they thought, that's fucking funny. I want my life to be like that. Maybe I will be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I will have a twin brother who is also Danny DeVito. And then I'll marry Jamie Lee Curtis. And then I'll be...
The movie did create some unrealistic expectations.
What?
What?
Huh?
I said, we're waiting for something. Jim, I was waiting for you to make a Danny DeVito voice.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty racist, Jim.
It is.
Trying to say all
I think all those fucking DeVitos should go back to DeVito Stan. fucking Danny's coming over in this country. Fucking
I got an idea.
stealing our women, fucking raping our jobs.
They should make some cooler ranch DeVitos. I would eat DeVitos if they were a chip.
That is
that's a brilliant idea.
Danny Doritos. It was funnier than DeVitos. Just imagine like opening a bag of Doritos and like, oh no, these are DeVitos. I got DeVitos by accident.
Instead of Doritos.
And I would like Morgan Freeman, which is fucked up.
I enjoyed it. What video games do you guys want to talk about?
Hang on a minute though.
Not yet. Okay.
Hang on a minute.
Curious.
Let's just all think about Morgan Freeman for a second.
All right.
The guy from Half-Life? Hey, what if Gordon Freeman was in? What if Morgan Freeman was in? You know, Half-Life. Now those head crabs, they settle down there.
And what if he was in the? What if he was in the Freemasons and then Morgan Freeman? Oh, fucked it up again.
Me and Max were talking about Dreamcatcher the other day and Morgan Freeman, and we felt good when we talked about it. Because that movie's a feel-good movie.
There's a part where it's Morgan Freeman in a fucking Apache helicopter, and he's just coming at Thomas Jane, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Morgan Freeman." But he's like screaming it, and he's in a fucking attack helicopter. I'm like, how did they put him in this movie?
I love him in that movie. He's got huge eyebrows. Like, they gave him eyebrow extensions. So he's got giant gray eyebrows and a flat top, a gray, angry flat top. And he gets real close to, like, Tom Sizemore or someone who's like, "Are we pissing in the same latrine?" And I'm just like, it's the best. I just want to watch that.
He was fantastic in The Green Mile as well.
Well, I don't think he was in that.
No, I was making a funny joke about racists.
So I realized
I've really got to work on my Morgan Freeman humor. Sorry.
I was watching Batman Begins the other day, and I watched it, and I was like, this movie has Liam Neeson, Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, and Rutger Hauer in it.
Sorry, we call him the Rut.
The Rut?
He call him by his proper title and don't look at him directly. Don't stare into that man's eyes. They're too good for you.
That name that I previously called him has been washed away like tears in rain. Yeah, like I was sitting there and I was like, this movie could be about not Batman, and I'd still pay attention to it. It's just a bunch of really cool old guys talking about stuff.
Yeah, he did a really good job casting on that. So you guys want to talk about video games yet?
I want to talk about Rutger Hauer the Rat. Let's talk about what the Hitcher is.
What about Rutger Hauer, who's just like a giant rat?
Of course you said that. Of course you did.
Time to die.
You think of Baxter Stockman again too?
No, that the Rat King from Turtles is different, but that is also Rutger Hauer. Well,
Oh, Rutger. Did you like him in Blind Fury?
I liked him in Wedlock.
I never saw that.
I've seen Wedlock. I saw Wedlock when I was 6 years old. A bit inappropriate.
What's it about?
It's about Rutger Hauer is in a prison, right? Where there are no bars or walls or anything. It's all outside. They're just chilling. You know, what's the big problem? He could escape at any time. Fucking wrong, Jonathan. Don't assume that. He's got a collar on his fucking neck, hasn't he? And the collars make your heads blow up, and they're linked to someone else in the prison. And the two men, if they leave at the same time, could be free. Running free, they'd be fine. But they don't know which one they're wedge-locked to, so if one guy runs, one of the other random inmates, their heads will blow up as well. It keeps them all in. Fuck.
That's a pretty cool idea.
Was that in theaters?
I don't know, I watched this, like, on videos.
Speaking of movies that Rutger Hauer's The Rut is in. Baxter Stockman is in. I saw when I was homesick one day in 5th grade. I remember seeing on TV Omega Doom, and at this point I was really stoked on Doom. So I was like, that has a word from a game that I like in it, so it must be good to watch. And I watched it, and it Omega Doom is basically a retelling of Fistful of Dollars or Yojimbo, depending on one of that one where a guy comes to town, and he's like. He's like, oh, I'm new in town. And they're like, we have two warring factions. And he basically plays them both for fools. Except in this case, it's in a post-apocalyptic future. And one of the factions is vampires. And the other one is cyborgs.
That sounds fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah. So Rutger Hauer has to befriend cyborgs and vampires. And it seriously looks like they filmed it in an abandoned parking garage. They're just all kind of standing around from like other sides of the building from each other. It's very boring.
I can't wait to see it. So it's badly made, but the concept makes it worth at least seeing? Is that right?
It would probably be a fun movie to watch if you were making fun of it and took it with a grain of salt and some irony and made fun of it with friends. Except I watched it when I was like a depressed 5th grader. So I was like, is this what the world is really like? Are there really just lonely cyborgs and vampires out there warring for no reason?
Yeah, it's true. It kind of is true. Well, thanks for the review of the Omega Doom. Is that what it's called?
Look, okay, respect to your depression and everything. Respect to anyone who's depressed. But anyone who's depressed while Rutger Hauer, the Rut, is still alive can fuck off. There's no reason to ever be sad in the world while the Rut still breathes, breathing life into this sick little planet before he dies and his spirit goes off to marry the sun, as is prophesied.
Do you want to know like one of the more depressing days of my life? Only
the Rut has multiple lives. I will introduce you to the teachings of Rutology.
This was before I discovered the Rut.
Right.
Just fair. This is one of the reasons I got home from summer camp where I'd been for like 6 weeks and I'd been super homesick the whole time. It was fucking miserable. And I got home and my mom's like, welcome home. You're back at home. She's like, I have to go to work now. And I was like, well, I'm home alone at my house in the middle of the woods. And I was like, well, I'll see what's on TV. And I turned on the TV and it was Cartoon Network used to have every like Saturday and Sunday afternoon, they'd have a Super Chunk, which was 3 hours of one cartoon. And that particular day, it was Super Friends. And so I sat there in this room, and I watched 3 hours of Super Friends back to back, and it was like completely overcast and gray outside, and I just sat there and I'm like, I can't feel my feelings right now. I fucking hate the Super Friends. That's the goddamn worst show ever. It's so bad.
I like that show a lot, but I know what you're saying. It's badly made. I used to do that with the Plague Dogs.
It's so campy, but like. I saw it then before I really understood the whole like campiness thing and irony, like I said with the Rut in Omega Doom. It's like, so I was just sitting there and I was like, this isn't entertaining for me. I just feel so alone.
Oh sure, yeah, it's a total, because it looks like a superhero show, so you're like, oh cool, superhero things are gonna happen, but no, they just stand and talk. Sometimes someone will get trapped in a jar, like they'll shrink him down.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "You're in the jar now. Let me attend to other duties." And they're like, "How am I going to get out of the jar?" And then
Like
20 minutes later, it's over. Yeah.
they have like a fucking Hall of Justice, and then some random police chief will be like, "Help everyone! The fucking octopuses are going crazy." And Aquaman's like, "This looks like a job for me." And he goes there, and the octopi attack him. Like even though he can talk to them, like that's the thing
Right.
is, Aquaman's power is to talk to is to talk to animals, to talk to fish, and some of them
Right.
still attack him.
Oh yeah,
You know?
you can talk to. I talk to guys all the time. They still attack me. Talking doesn't do you that much good. Sometimes not
Yeah,
talking
but that's
is
like
better.
that's what he's
Jonathan
good at.
Holmes, I do often think that you are the Aquaman of the land.
Oh yeah, thank
You are like Landman.
Actually, I could envision you with webbed fingers pretty easily.
Thank you. That is another.
Very
compliment.
creepy. I don't know
I can
why.
imagine you with a webbed dick.
Wow, I
Ew.
don't know what that means.
What would that even look like?
Ew, like at the bottom? Like a rooster gobble or something?
It would, yes.
Uh,
It would look
like-
like a pterodactyl wing.
Would it look like Merman's head? Would it just have like random sort of gills?
Oh, that
Yes.
sounds awful.
I'm just imagining just merman just between his legs.
And when you went pee, like bubbles would come out.
I do like when
I'm going to come.
it can talk too about what it's gonna do.
Yeah,
sexually.
it tells
Wow.
you that its erection is going to come.
It's awful.
The erection is going to come. I can't do the voice.
No, you're doing it. That
The
sounds
very
good.
talented men doing those Masters of the Universe cartoons. Very talented.
Yeah, I love those.
I don't know how.
Have you guys seen the Plague Dogs? There's so many things I've wanted to talk about
What's
this
a
whole time.
plague
When we were talking about 3D movies, I wanted to talk about how it's nice to have choice, and it's good to be able to choose the not 3D version, and how I think it's also good to be able to choose not
Try
motion
telling
controls.
that to the Republican Party, right, satire listeners? That was for our fans of satire, the satire listeners that listen in.
I didn't-
Satire. Hey guys, the GOP ain't good. Remember that
I thought
when
they
they had
were
said
good
a bad thing?
sometimes.
What?
No.
Oh, I don't think so, Jonathan Holmes. Try telling that to the fat cats of Washington, am I right? Fuck.
Yes. Fuck.
Occupy Wall
Yes.
Street, occupy testicles, my penis.
For the longest time, I got the GOP and geodes mixed up.
Like the crystals?
Yeah, I was like, people were like, "Man, I can't stand the GOP," and I'm like, "Why? You fucking break it open and it's full of like crystals. It's awesome. They sell it at the museum. You idiot."
Unfortunately,
I thought you were
if you
gonna
break the
say
GOP open, you just get crystal meth. Right, guys? They must be on crystal meth to come up with their politics. Are you right, satirical fans of satire? Please like me and let me be on Jon Stewart's program.
People do like that Jon Stewart. And then when Max was talking about depressing cartoons, I wanted to bring up the Plague Dogs, which I guess I could do. It's not too
Okay.
late.
No, do it.
The follow-up to Watership Down, which I'm sure you've all seen, a movie about rabbits leaving
They made
and
a
then
movie
getting
about that?
eaten. Oh yeah, it's really good.
basically
It's
like
fucking gory as shit
I've only read
too.
the book,
oh,
which I thought was kind of dumb.
it's horrible. That film is fucking nightmarish. I love it.
Yeah, they upped it with the Plague Dogs. The
Oh.
Plague Dogs is like super Watership Down. So there's
Really?
two dogs. Like one's a big brown dog, and one's like a smaller beagle-ish looking dog. And they're in a lab, and they've got like things attached to their heads, and they're like, and they're British, of course. And they're like, "What are we gonna do, Nigel? How do we get out of here?" He's like, "Oh, I think I got an idea." And then they
So is this-
escape. Yeah. I can.
Is this
I
like
can
all
answer
dogs go to
questions.
heaven, but for atheists?
No.
Is it like
No.
they just die and they're like, "Where are we going, Nigel?" "Nowhere. Around for a bit."
No, they get out. They get out, and they're itching all the time. Like, it hurts up here and down here, and like, oh, I'm feeling sick. They're like, I'll get you some help, and they're just stray dogs that are infected with something from a laboratory, probably the plague. Hence the name the Plague Dogs. And they befriend a rat, or I think a cat or something, that betrays them, and they're being tracked down by the cops, and the cops are going to kill them because they're infected with something that's probably going to kill everyone because they shouldn't have escaped. Kind of like, it's kind of like,
Like the rats and
28
mimics,
days
so they
later.
don't help Mrs. Frisbee.
no, it's like 28 days later from the perspective of the monkey. If the monkey wasn't a jerk and he just like got out and got everyone sick by accident. So you're rooting for the dogs, but at the same time you know they're gonna give everyone the plague, and then it ends with them just swimming away. And like, how much longer can you swim? And the other one's like, not long. I don't think I can make it. And then roll credits.
That sounds awesome.
That
Yeah,
does
man,
sound really good.
That actually
Plague
reminds me. Have you ever heard the Thundercats outtakes? Because the only place I've ever heard the Plague Dogs.
Yes, I remember them.
And where it's like, well, you're gonna call the Thundercats before. Shut up, you fuck. Like stuff like that. But there's one part where I think it's Mumra, and he's just like, oh, the fucking Plague Dogs, and I'm just like, that just sounds like gibberish, but that makes some sense.
No,
now.
it's real. Yeah, it's super Watership.
Jonathan.
Yeah. Uh-huh. What? Light my fire? Was that
It's Watership Down, isn't it?
Oh, is it? You know the music?
It's something to think about for us all, I think.
Man.
It's a very powerful message. I'm gonna fire. Just listen to the lyrics. I'm gonna fire. Listen to the lyrics.
Do you guys ever read Stephen King's The Stand?
Yes, I did read that.
You know how there's like a chapter in there just about how one of the characters has read Watership Down?
I forgot about that. It's hard to remember that.
There's also a chapter about how someone has read Lord of the Rings. Stephen King just fucking writes whatever he wants. I love it. That book is ridiculous. It's a fucking cube. It's like 15,000 pages long, and it's a chapter about his characters reading other books.
It's really good at the start, and then it kind of fell apart for me towards the end, as I recall. I wanted to ask you guys' advice, too, about this thing that's making me feel really weird and embarrassed and unsure.
Okay.
Can I do that? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is it the talking to women thing?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's a weird thing to do for a video game journalist to do, this whole thing. It's not something that's commonly done. I went to my friend's brother's house, who's a professional music producer, and recorded the full version of the Talking to Women About Video Games theme song on Saturday. Then last night, he emailed me the final mix. He'd been mixing it and producing it and adding and subtracting and blah, blah, blah. And I got 10 seconds into it before I had to stop it because even though no one was in the room, I was so intensely embarrassed with how it turned out that I felt, and proud too, because it's intense. It'll make you feel something, but it's so... It's not who I thought it was.
I'm not surprised, to be honest, because...
Tell me more.
I mean, the theme tune's okay. Don't get me wrong. I like it. Right.
Thank you.
But if it went a little more like talking, listen to the lyrics, right?
I can't understand the lyrics.
Jonathan Holmes. If it was more like that.
I'm pretty sure that's the theme from Five Will Goes West, Jim.
Yes. I did plagiarize Bible Goes West.
Is that it?
Forgive me, Jon Stewart. I still want to be on your program with my satire of singing.
What the fuck is going on?
I'd have you on the program. That would be great. But listening to the song is like wrestling or trying to eat an octopus, and you're trying to wrestle it, and it'll insert one of its tentacles into your mouth, and it'll taste like caramel. And then suddenly there'll be one like in your nose and it'll smell like sulfur. Mm-hmm. And then then there's another one in your mouth and it tastes like soap. And you can't even.
So which?
Oh my god!
Which one of us is going to make the incredibly trite anime reference there?
I'm not doing it.
Not it.
No, one of us has to do it, and I don't want to do it.
I'm tired of anime references all morning.
Tara, make a trite anime reference because he said the word tentacle.
And mouth.
Caramel.
And just any anime?
That'll do. There's your reference, guys. You're all thinking it, and we're the ones brave enough to say it. Anime, tentacles, fucking hell. Imagine. Jon Stewart.
Wow, you're really sticking it to yourself and everyone that tries to be entertaining today, Jim. That's kind of your theme today. Like, trying to be funny, you kind of suck, and I suck too. Everyone sucks. That's the feeling
What
I'm
do we do
getting.
on other weeks?
That's the mood I'm in. It's the mood I'm in, dude. It's
There's nothing wrong with that, man.
It's nihilistic. I don't give a fuck. I don't care anymore. I just threw some glasses at my keyboard. That's how intense I'm feeling about not feeling intense about anything.
Hey, Jim, are we embargoed about Serious Sam?
No,
Yeah,
it's out
let's talk about
today.
It came out today. That's right. Let's talk about it. I just played it for like an hour and a half.
Damn right. That's part of the reason why I don't care anymore, because nothing is Serious Sam apart from Serious Sam. So I don't give a fuck about any of your bullshit.
I haven't
Whoa,
gotten to
so
play
how
it
good
yet.
is
This
it?
isn't fair.
I tell you what, that game is rough as fuck. That game is so fucking rough. Does it matter? Fucking no.
Whoa.
It's one of those
Still fun?
games. It's like there are no transition reanimations for the melee kills.
I love that.
It is
You'll be like 7 feet away from a monster, and you'll just do a melee kill, and you'll suddenly have your hand in his mouth, like just ripping out his face.
like it is rough. It doesn't look much above. Well, I mean, it looks on par with Source engine stuff. It is the gameplay. Obviously, is just run and gun constantly. But it's fucking fun. That's all that matters. It is fun.
My knee-jerk reaction to that was it is what Duke Nukem Forever failed to be, and what I was mad at Bulletstorm for trying to be. And it's just Serious Sam, and it's like so fucking dumb, and like you hit a guy with a sledgehammer. It's kind of, you know. I mean, it's just like hammer time, and he hits a guy with a hammer.
Yeah,
you know.
That's
fine. Funnier that it's fucking satisfying.
Hey, you're ugly as shit. Oh,
yeah,
I'm Serious Sam.
I was feeling kind of like just like tired, and like I told you about my cat waking me up and shit, and the feral cat dreams, you know. And it's like I was just tired and kind of bummed out, and I just put that on, and I felt better, you know. It's like it's the kind of game I want when I was, you know, in 6th grade, and I like it now still because I'm stunted, but you know, it's just fun. You know, you're just fucking blowing shit up, and there's guts flying everywhere.
Doesn't sound bad at all. Sounds like it knows what it wants to be, and it just does it.
Exactly.
Sounds good.
Pretty much.
It's really
nothing wrong with that.
It's not sorry. It's a game that isn't sorry, and I like that. It's like, yeah, we're rough. We're not very polished. We are definitely not the most evolved shooter. But you see that Scorpion? It's got guns. So fuck you.
They're like, okay, we'll sort of have a story here, but not really. Like one of the guys who dies at the beginning is just called Jones, I think, and then you fight skeletons, and he goes, "That one's for Jones, Bones." I'm like, did someone actually write this, or did they just make it up on the spot? Like
That sounds perfect, because I don't want to know whether they're in on their joke 100%. I like the tension of not knowing whether I'm laughing with or at someone who made something like that. So that sounds perfect.
Ambiguous as fuck. I have no idea.
That sounds great. That's what I want.
It made me feel better.
I mean, that's why I've always loved Serious Sam, because he, unlike Duke Nukem, who is often written to be revered, you can't revere Serious Sam. The man's an idiot. Like,
he's just a guy with a white T-shirt on, right, and a gun.
He's fucking retarded. He sounds like it. Like the guy who does the voice is. It's bad.
Hammer time.
Hammer time. And when he fights a spider and just goes da 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 da.
That actually happens.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Really? Like up and down?
You don't give a fuck.
What does that even mean?
It was the Spider-Man tune.
Oh, that's a Spider-Man theme.
Yeah, it took me a while because it's just so fucking just chewing through his own fat as he says it. And the guy, like, it's a good game. Like, I can tell they've made it a bit more. What's the word? A bit more scripted than previous ones, because the previous ones it was like you read the story in the manual and then you shoot stuff until the credits roll.
Right.
And there was no real form to it. It was just, you know, go down a corridor, shoot some guys, go down a corridor, shoot some... And it's still got a lot of that, but, you know, they've added... They've paced it now, which is surprising. The game's actually got a sense of pace to it where everything's slowly building. You know, you start with a mallet and then you get your pistol, and it spends a long time with just the pistol. And then you find a shotgun and...
I'm only a little ways in, and there's a few parts that have bugged me, like that. You go into a museum and you're supposed to go around and find this professor, and I'm just like, I got lost in that museum for fucking probably about 15 or 20 minutes, and I was just running around and I hear like the spiders like, and I was like, where are you? Come fucking attack me! Like I'm just kind of bored here, and I went around smashing every piece of furniture in the museum with a sledgehammer. I eventually found the way out, but it was just, I mean, it's the whole labyrinth feel of it. I was like, I want to shoot things. I don't want to feel like labyrinth thing. But that was like that in the previous Serious Sam games. Like you'd be like, what am I supposed to fucking do? Where am I going? And then eventually you do something right, and these monsters would come at you.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's got that Doom thing where it's like, look behind you, there are all the corpses, don't go that way, and then just sort of head towards where you think there are monsters. And you got to pay attention to that because the monsters are basically your route. Where there are enemies, that's the direction you head in. And when I played the preview code, I thought they'd improved it, because when I played the preview code, I got stuck in that museum and gave up. And then I replayed it today on the retail and got through it fairly easy, so I don't know whether that was just me remembering most of the museum and then stumbling and getting lucky, or whether they did improve it from the preview. But I didn't have too much of a problem with the museum. But yeah, I'm at a point now where I'm shooting harpies with 4 eyes and big tits and big naked breasts. They're there. Yeah, and they're just sort of swooping down and screeching at me. I love because a lot of the enemies are taken from previous Serious Sam games, but I love the redesigns they've given them. They've made everything just look more vile, just more horrible to look at. Like, I mean, they're not sexy women, those harpies with the breasts, but the breasts make it look even uglier, because, you know, they've got like a bagging set of clankers and these horrible like faces that split open, that have like demon faces under women faces, and it's fucked up. Also, I pulled a skeleton's head off and then threw it at another enemy, and the enemy died, and I got an achievement for it, so that's good as well, isn't it, Jonathan?
That's great. You pulled it right off with your melee attack?
Yeah, the melee attack, which I'm still not
People
sure.
hate it when you say melee, you have to say melee.
Melee. Sorry, I never say melee. You said that and then made me...
I know, I did it. I set you up for
infected me. Yo, you set me up there. Oh, I fell for that. Hook, line, and a bloody sinker. But yeah, I'm still hemming and hawing on whether the melee stuff is a good or a bad addition, because sometimes you do feel like you can just hammer E to just stamp your way through enemies, but then at the same time you can pull a Cyclops monster's eye out and then throw it in the air really far. So
sounds like it's a little bit of both. Sometimes it's too easy, and sometimes it's really good.
It's a fun game though, and I played multiplayer on it, and I got first place.
Oh wow! Who are you playing against? Any people?
Some guys on the internet.
Oh, because it's out now. So you were playing against the real other guys.
It's weird. I get people tweeting at me, and I'm like, I'm just about to play it. Like, I don't know. You know,
they're excited to play it.
Got signed up and started playing it. It's cool though. I like it. You know.
Yeah, it sounds fun. And, I didn't get, not to cut you off, but I didn't get your advice yet as to whether I should release this song that...
Do it!
It's truly, I'd be less embarrassed if I just released a video on the internet of me having like the most agonizing vomit/diarrhea session. Like that would be way less.
I actually do want you to do that though.
It's the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. I've done a lot of stupid things. Man,
what's so bad about it? Is it the song?
Delete it, whichever.
There's auto-tune, there's
Jonathan.
a voice choir, there's
So you don't
harp.
like the production?
I like it, but I don't... It makes... If I have any...
Jonathan, allow me to play social worker for a second, okay?
Please do, Joe.
Allow me to turn the tables on you, because you are a qualified psychologist, okay?
I'm not.
Psychologist.
Allow me to play Psychologeist with you,
Yes, please.
okay?
Yes, Jim. Mm-hmm.
You've already decided whether you're going to release it or not.
I have?
Oh, yes. You don't know that you've... you don't know that you've decided. The very fact you've brought it up tells us that you're going to do it. You're just waiting for us to give you the green light, so that
Okay.
if your fears come true and people don't like it, it's our fault.
I can blame Podtoid.
You can blame Podtoid. So, release it.
Okay, and if it's a
I
success...
will bravely, like Jesus Christ, I will be the martyr for this. I will tell you...
If it is really bad, I'm going to feel bad for encouraging him to release it.
This is why I am taking on the sins of all mankind here. Okay? You don't have to greenlight this. The heavy burden that I am taking on, I will say, go mine, son, and release it. And if anybody on YouTube mocks it, I will say, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do.
And therefore all my sins are washed clean.
They know not how to spell on YouTube. Forgive them. They are fucking tits.
All right, I feel good about it. It's your fault now, Jim.
Absolutely.
And if anyone actually likes it, it'll probably be your fault and your fault too, Tara, and your fault, Max, because turns out everyone who pays attention to all my videos are just people who listen to Podtoid. I didn't realize that, but it turned out to be true. The only reason anyone watches anything I do is because they happen to listen to Podtoid and now know who I am. And
maybe they listen to Podtoid because they like you so much.
Oh, I don't think so.
I think
never mind.
It all bleeds into each other. It's definitely what I try and do. I try and make sure that people who watch the Inquisition listen to Podtoid, people who listen to Podtoid read Destructoid, just helping stuff around.
Sure.
Talking of, I'm very proud. Jimquisition is on TV Tropes now.
Oh, really?
Someone put it up there, and people have been writing and contributing on it. And that's kind of that is one of my all-time favourite sites. And Podtoid is even mentioned on the page.
Oh wow, we're famous now.
Because they mention on Podtoid. I mentioned TV Tropes before on Podtoid, and that was
you did. I remember. That's how I learned about
it. So they can add this bit now. And it can be like a wall within a wall within a wall, and really self-referential and crazy. And people will read it and go,
I hope that's what they do. And speaking of the Jimquisition, Jim, didn't you talk about the SOPA?
I did talk about the as it's properly pronounced. The stop.
What is that thing? Tell me about it. Because our listeners might not know about it. What is that SOPA?
Yeah, so this is a thing. They had their hearings last week. There's a decent chance that it ain't going to go through, although I won't cross my fingers just yet. Basically, and the game industry have supported this by way of the ESA and Nintendo and EA and Sony have put their names down for it. This is basically the ending of Metal Gear Solid 2. In human form. A bunch of corporations want to censor the internet because right now, if they think there's any infringing material on a website, they have to do this thing called due process, where they have to get off their fucking asses and work to prove things. But they don't want to do that anymore because they can't compete with the internet, and they realise that right now they have to be selective about what they take to court.
They actually have to pick their battles and prioritize things that are important.
And they don't want to do that because corporations would like 100% control of everything in the world. So I used to worry about sounding anti-corporate, like a wishy-washy liberal. Now I don't give a fuck. So that's why if anyone's thinking that, I don't give a fuck. I won't sound like a wishy-washy woolly liberal. But anyway, they want this 100% domination of everything, and so they come up with SOPA, which will allow them to shut down any website and pressure any ISP into removing websites and blocking non-American websites from American audiences, basically for whatever reason, because the bill is so vaguely written, they can do what they like, and this could, taken to its most logical extreme, they can make a felon out of somebody who streams Gears of War 3 for charity.
Whoa.
So, I mean, that's what the law as written gives them the freedom to do. Obviously, it will be, you don't know whether they do that or not, but they would have the freedom to. And knowing what certain corporations are like, I don't think it's a freedom where they would exercise self-control and think, no, I probably won't do that.
What did I miss?
Huh?
Oh, hi.
There you are.
Hey. I'm currently like 300 feet away from where I was before. I had to walk down the hall, and I'm now in a workshop.
What?
They made me get out of the conference room and go down to the studio, so now I'm in a room full of paint and wood.
Is it the Children's Television Workshop?
Yeah.
I wish it was.
Close.
Is it
That's where we work.
Build the set?
They just
Do you
like
remember
left
when I
me.
helped build the set? You remember? Remember me? Let's talk. I helped build that set.
What?
I'm so proud of myself.
Which set?
I don't know.
The set that you use on the Destructoid show.
The one we use now?
I was sanding it. Me and Andy were sanding it.
Oh,
Sandy
I
Andy.
forgot you were there for that.
It was way before the actual set was built, but I started the prep. It was like my last week in San Francisco. It was like prep.
There's like a tiny bit of you left on our set.
That's what I wanted to leave. A little bit of sanded wood. Means me. Anyway, sorry. Jim was Max. You missed Jim talking about SOPA and how EA, Nintendo, Activision. Is that right, Jim?
Funnily enough, over this past year, Activision have been coming across as rather nice guys compared to EA.
How about that, huh?
I mean, it really is a case of turnaround, because Activision, I would suck Bobby Kotick's dick just for him not being John Riccitiello. I will meet him and say, you're not John Riccitiello. I'm going to get on my knees now and notch you off until you come right in my face. Because you're not him, because you're not the silver-haired Lothario with a heart of shit. That's what I would do.
Like when companies do. I don't like when companies say, hey, if you want to use our product, you can't sue us. Because that's fucked up completely.
Yeah, they're
still going to get sued anyway. We won't stop it.
I mean,
they're probably going to lose.
This sheer desire to have total dominate, it's the kind of shit, like I see what corporations are doing now, I see that whole, Occupy Wall Street stuff, and then I think about all the films from the 1980s that ever existed, and how they're all true now. Like fucking Wayland Yutani, the evil corporation that would put a facehugger on someone just to make a weapon. That doesn't seem out of the ordinary. That seems like something Sears would do.
It's possible, yeah.
For a laugh, even. It sounds like something they do for fun. They probably watch Aliens and think, we should do that at the weekend, just for fun. It's fucking Deus Ex. That's what it is now. It's Deus Ex and the ending of Metal Gear Solid 2 all in one, and that's why we should all form the Sons of Liberty. And then we can have. Don't
you mean we should form the Patriots from Rainbow Six Patriots? That game that's coming out in 2 years.
Oh, is that the one about shooting people? The terrorists. I mean,
I love how that's Tom Clancy getting real down and dirty and relevant and having basically having the Tea Party take up arms, or the Occupy people, depending on which school of thought you're coming from. I couldn't give a fuck less about that game, though. It just sounds like a fucking a dying grasp. It sounds like Grandpa's on his deathbed and he just grabs little Timmy's shirt. He's like, "Tell me about the Pokemon. I want to know what's it."
I find it very hard to when I see Tom Clancy's name at the beginning of a video game. I find it very hard to give a flying fuck. It's just I've played them before. I really did like the last Splinter Cell. I forget what it was called now. I reviewed it. I liked it, but
they're trying to make it the plot seem all edgy and I'm not taking it all fucking poli-sci Berkeley student or anything, but Tom Clancy's kind of one of the reasons a lot of people think the American military machine is really badass, and if he's trying to make some kind of really makes you think, doesn't it, kind of video game, I don't give a fuck.
Because it will basically be, really makes you think.
That's like
bad is the military!
It's like if it's Michael Bay made a commercial about recycling. Okay.
That'd be amazing. Just throwing bottles in the bottle bank and boom! I'm gonna explode this trash in your face!
This yo face. Didn't he do that one about the war? That had a heart. Pearl Harbor.
I never actually saw Pearl Harbor because
so much heart.
I don't. Yeah, I can't. No, I
so
don't.
Much heart. So much heart. David Lynch made a really good coffee commercial once. You should watch it.
I hate David
Coffee?
Lynch.
Yeah, but just watch the coffee commercial. It's good.
David Lynch made a goddamn video of himself making quinoa and like smoking cigarettes.
Oh, that's yeah.
That sounds great.
I have goddamn David Lynch hair today. I'm sorry. Like I was walking to work and I looked at my reflection in a store window and I was like, oh, I look like David Lynch again.
I can see that as well. I can really imagine you with David Lynch hair. That'd be
Yeah,
fantastic.
I know.
Please
You'd look
do that
really
all
good
the
with
time.
David Lynch hair.
Dye it white, bleach your hair, do E3 as David Lynch. Just tell everyone that's who you are. You'd get an interview with Ubisoft.
Jon Stewart.
Jon
I was
Stewart,
wrong.
yeah.
Sorry. It's not a coffee commercial. It's a cigarette commercial. It's really, really good. It's really good.
Is it like, I'm David, that's how he sounds, I'm David Lynch, I like to smoke cigarettes.
He's got a higher voice. He's like,
Please
go
buy
down.
my cigarettes because I directed all of the films.
That's not how he talks at all. He's like,
That's how he talks.
no, he's high pitched a little bit.
I'm David Lynch and I directed The Lion King.
I'm David Lynch. I'm a Racerhead.
Woohoo! Hello, Pluto! I'm David Lynch!
Why is he goofy now?
That's not goofy.
That's totally goofy.
Yeah, that's goofy.
Time to get up for school, Max. I'm David Lynch.
Oh, that is a good goofy
Oh
impersonation.
no! I'm David Lynch!
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, that's good too.
Come on, Pluto! Suck my dick!
I'm David Lynch.
I'm covered in pedigree chum!
Do you want to finish talking about SOPA, Jim? I'm sorry. I feel like I derailed this.
Huh?
Just keep doing that. I mean, whatever you want to do is fine with me, but
I was gonna say something.
you were talking about SOPA,
Yeah.
if you want.
Yeah.
But you did already explain SOPA very well, and it's very clear why it would be bad for anyone.
It's a bad thing. Basically,
yeah.
us doing our great impersonations there, me and Max, when we were, like, making comedic references to your light-hearted childhood pals, Goofy and Mickey Mouse, right? That would be censored from the internet literally forever, and we would be shot. That's a bit of an overstatement, but
you couldn't do. I assume you couldn't do like.
Well, the Destructoid show would be, a potential candidate for censorship, depending on whether or not a game company decides to take umbrage. The Jimquisition could. Anything, like any video especially, MASH tactics that Destructoid runs on Justin TV especially could be in trouble, because you just don't know. And you wouldn't, because the law as stands is so vaguely written, you don't know who could just shut you down at a moment's notice. It's ridiculous.
I don't like people who are trying to... The internet is the fucking craziest thing that's probably happened to civilization in a long time. We can all... We're like talking to each other across thousands of miles right now. We're communicating in real time over thousands of miles. And
People did that on the phones, though, in the 1800s.
Yeah, but we're not paying for it. We're just kind of like, oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah, 4-way call for free.
I remember in the 1800s, podcasts were all the fucking rage.
Yeah, there's the phone thing, and then there's like the whole, we could be looking at each other with videos, I just think that, like, political boundaries, they're kind of meaning a lot less lately, especially with Twitter and shit like that. When you see people doing the big, kind of sidestepping government media blackouts and being like, "Oh hey, like here's here's the fucking riot police coming and killing people."
Here's all this shit that's not on the TV. What's up?
Yeah. I mean, it's just. I think that, I don't know. Is
it
weird.
surprising, though? Is it not fucking surprising that corporations want the internet under their control? Because we've seen CNN and Fox News, how they've handled OWS. That's what the internet would look like under their control, and that's what they would like. This OWS shit, I bet it could get shut down pretty easily by corporations just using the vagueness of the SOPA, law, if it were ever to become a law, which, as I say, in its current state is probably unlikely. But yeah, I mean, you look at Fox News and how they choose to present OWS and how they choose to try and make political assassins sound like they are using OWS to help them assassinate politicians, and they're the people that want control of the internet and what people post on it. So, fun.
Yeah.
God, I'm
scary.
all fucking depressed again. Can we talk about blowing shit up or something? Fuck.
Yeah, we've got like 10 minutes before we gotta go.
Do you want to do questions? People want to do questions.
Let's do some questions.
I forgot to do a question posed again.
That's okay. I didn't do one either, but on Twitter, I just asked, and I got like 50 questions now. A lot of stuff. Here's a question from Kim A. Strandley. In previous console gens, colorful AAA platform games was a safe bet, but now they're almost gone. Yay or nay? Will that change? I want to speak to that real quick. Recently, people got mad at me for a C-blog where I expressed one of my internal opinions, because I have differing opinions about the same thing all the time. I'm conflicted. Part of me is sick of first-person shooters that are about going to war, because there's so many of them. And on the surface, they're very similar. I'm sick of people just making that genre for a cash grab. It's boring to me. I don't really want to support that. Just like I got really, really bored of colorful platformers back in the 80s and 90s, because they'd come up with Aero the Acrobat and Punky Skunk and Blasto, and they were just following a mold to try to get money. Their heart wasn't really in it. And it bummed me out. But now they're coming back. We got Rayman Origins, got Kirby's Return to Dreamland. So getting them in a nice ratio to how many total games come out that year, I think is perfect. So I kind of like where colorful AAA platformers are right now. You get 2 or 3 a year, and they're usually really, really good, and people are making them because they genuinely want to, and not just for the money.
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
I think they would sell better if publishers tried to sell them better. I've always been of this opinion that making a successful game is at least 50% in the marketing. Now, I know marketing can't always sell a game, but it helps that people know your game exists,
And smart marketing.
Not the only reason Duke Nukem made any money.
Yeah, that is true.
Smart marketing, passionate marketing, legitimately speaking to people's interest in the game instead of just like,
I have always said this, and I still stand by it. Do you know the reason why Halo is one of the biggest games in the world?
I do not know.
Because Microsoft told everybody it was. And I stand by it. I mean that 100%, not even joking. Halo is one of the biggest games in the world because Microsoft told everyone it was one of the biggest games in the world. And people had to believe it because Microsoft wouldn't lie. So, and I'm not saying that as a knock on Halo's quality, just on the power of proper marketing. Like I said, it doesn't always work. I mean, Bulletstorm apparently didn't do very well, and they sunk quite a bit into that.
Yeah,
but
they broke even there.
At the same time, when you release Rayman Origins on the same day as Saints Row the Third Halo Anniversary, and your own fucking AAA game in Assassin's Creed Revelations, it's probably not going to do so hot. I still can't get over the fact that Rayman Origins was released last week. It boggles my mind.
And the people who like it love it. Every day I hear someone new saying, I'm so glad I took a risk on this game. It's so much more fun than I thought it was. It's so much deeper. I can play it endlessly with my family or by myself. People love it, but I would be highly surprised if they sold more than 500,000 copies of that game.
I thought it was amazing.
Across all platforms, yeah. I would be highly surprised. Because the Wii audience who wanted that kind of game bought Kirby or they bought Skyward Sword. If you're on the other platforms and you bought Skyrim or you bought, it's doomed.
I thought we were actually going to get away with a Podtoid without mentioning Skyward Sword or Skyrim.
People are asking tons of questions about it on Twitter, and I wanted to ask you, Jim, should I even address them? Because we've talked about it for a month and a half now, Skyward Sword and Skyrim. We have talked about
both those games a lot. But sorry, Tara was going to add something.
Yes, Tara.
I was going to say, I wonder what the development cycle for a game like Rayman Origins is, as opposed to another AAA title that's like a first-person shooter or something. Does it take less? Is it easier to make, or is it harder to make a platformer?
Didn't they say that it took 3 years?
Yeah, they've been working on it for a long time, and it was initially going to be a PSN XBLA title, but it was getting too expensive and they couldn't rationalize, and it was just getting too big and they had too many ideas, so they didn't want to squash it. So
I imagine
it went full retail.
I imagine, like, because they have to work so hard on actual level design, whereas a lot of games these days, you know, give us a corridor, throw some enemies in there. I mean, it's obviously not that easy, but at least they've got a spine to work with already. Whereas that game, like, I've only been able to play like an hour or two of it before I've had to go do other stuff. But what I played was just beautifully, intricately designed. Like you can tell they have worked so hard to make that stuff just flow beautifully. And I imagine that takes a long time to do just from a design standpoint. Like, I think people write that stuff off. They see a cute cartoony platformer and think, oh, it's just like Flash animation, probably took them a day to make. And it's like, it probably took them longer than it takes to design some of the prettiest shooters out there, just because once you've made an engine for a really pretty shooter, then you've just got to make some really pretty shooting. Which, you know,
using AI and
I don't want to write off the work that goes into making a shooter, but I imagine it takes so much more effort to intricately craft a platformer level. But yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of platform games, always have been. So I'm glad to see them. I'm just, you know, I'm a bit worried that they're not going to do well, and it will confirm. Publishers will think, oh yeah, that's why we stopped supporting platform development platform game development, and then stop again.
It's the same with like hand-drawn animation. You know, it's not that work doesn't go into CG stuff. It's just more work goes into, you know, it's more expensive and more time waste, takes more time to do you know, hand-drawn animation. So they're like, oh, you know, let's do CG, and
right.
You know,
CG, you can just throw a bunch of money and computers at it and some
DreamWorks.
technicians. Whereas hand-drawn, your artists have to have a certain type of skill and a certain passion and a certain imagination that you can't.
And just sheer energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just
I used to do that stuff.
Inhuman energy.
Oh, I used to spend 8 hours a day drawing idle animations for a fighting game I was going to make. Just 8 hours, frame by frame, you know, just wanting to make the most beautiful idle animations. All right, I'm getting off track. I was going to say something. Yeah, forget it. Your thoughts, Tara, about the platformers there?
I like them. I was kind of wary of Rayman Origins because it's $60, and I hate to be that person who's like, you know, platformers shouldn't cost $60, and I'm sure it has enough content to justify its price. But at the same time, I kind of can't dissociate that feeling of kind of being ripped off a little bit. I really wish they could have made it a downloadable title.
That was the original plan, yeah. And they made it worthy of retail, but you're right, there's that feeling people have because they have bought so many good platformers for $15 or $10. So then to be asked to pay $60 just feels really weird. Same thing happened to Cave Story 3D. They just released like the best version of Cave Story ever on Steam for $9, like a month after they released the same game with, you know, polygon-based graphics and 3D effects and stuff on the 3DS. But people aren't going to want to buy a game for 4 times how much they can get it on Steam just for polygons and 3D. It's shooting themselves in the foot a little bit.
Well, they have a 3DS.
Who has a 3DS?
Hello?
Oh yeah. Hi. I'm just talking.
Keep talking
about that.
I was gonna say that people, you know, kind of like laughed when they said that. What was it, like someone was complaining about, you know, Angry Birds devaluing, you know, games? I think Nintendo said that or something. And it was like, it's kind of true, you know.
They might have.
Like,
yeah.
You're like, oh, here's one game that looks sort of like this that costs $2, you know, or is free, versus something that costs $60 and looks similar, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's. Yeah.
Yeah. So releasing games for $1 means everyone else has to drop their price eventually.
Well, what made Angry Birds so popular? Did they have a huge marketing budget?
That's a good question.
Well, I mean,
the fact that they're so cheap.
The mobile market is a very different beast from the retail market.
I'm just
super weird.
Even thinking back to like when Yoshi's Island, or when Yoshi's Story, was it Yoshi's Story? The second Yoshi's Island game, the one for N64 came out.
Yep.
I remember being like, man, that's like one of my favorite games for the Super NES. But this is the N64. Like,
right.
it was like I wanted to like it. And I was like, it has better graphics, but yeah, they have Blast Core, they have Shadows of the Empire. There's other things that are new and exciting looking, and you know.
Oh, just Mario 64 was new and different in 3D, and it's Yoshi's Story sold like crap compared to any 3D platformer.
I think the main problem is Rayman Origins is worth $60. It is, but that's not what the market thinks, and unfortunately value is determined by how much people are prepared to pay for it. So Ubisoft putting that out for $60 makes no sense, and I hate saying that because it makes it sound like I'm saying the game isn't worth $60, but factually it isn't, because something is only worth something if people are prepared to pay it, and I don't think many people are prepared to pay $60 for it.
Time will tell, but so far so bad. I mean, Nintendo, of course, still gets away with it. Kirby's Epic Yarn sold over 1 million copies. Donkey Kong Country Returns sold over 5 million copies. New Super Mario Brothers Wii sold like 15 million copies or something. So if you're Nintendo, sure. If you're everyone else, well, then again, Sonic Generations sold. I guess that was the best-selling.
Sega, basically, like the Sega and Nintendo can get away with it. Like you slap Sonic on something and it'll do well, whether the game's good or bad. Like some of the really shit Sonic games that have come out have done really well. Whereas,
to credit, Sonic's Generations is probably the best one, and it's sold better than all the other ones too, from what I've heard.
They broke pre-order records for any kind of Sonic game. I know that much.
Good for them.
Nintendo, of course, is Nintendo. They practice necromancy. That's what they do. They've got necromancers and other kinds of mancers working their magic to make things happen. I didn't know Kirby had done that well, though. I'm quite pleased about that. I really did like that game.
No numbers on Return to Dreamland yet, but Epic Yarn from last year. I think globally it sold like 3 million or 4 million or something. It did pretty good. We're getting so many Skyrim questions. Patrick Carr wants to know about Skyrim. What do you think about the Skyrims? And then Daniel Wells is like, given the Morrowind Skyrim and Skyrim and the Morrowind, how about, and they all just want to know so much about the difference.
Motards, follow us on Twitter. Follow everyone on Twitter, because that's all everyone's fucking talking about. It's like, Skyrim. I'm actually a little bit sick of Skyrim. Like, I think I'm at a point right now, it's about 6 months, after, we play videos for a living, that's our jobs. Like, we do that, or, well, Holmes, you play with other things, but it's like
I play video games too. Come on.
After E3, I was so just exhausted and sick and tired of video games, and I was in LA, so I just went and stayed with my folks, and like I'm fucking stoked to just go and hang out with my family and not think about video games for a few days. I am so ready for Thanksgiving right now. I'm sorry.
Really?
Like I love Skyrim.
I wish I had an Xbox at home.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going home for Thanksgiving, but that would definitely be useful for Christmas. I always get so bored when I'm around there.
I must admit, there was a lull today just before Serious Sam was installable, where I had nothing to do. I had no games to play, and I just sat. It was only lasted for about an hour or two, and I just sat there and thought, I've got nothing to do. This is amazing. I'm going to put on the Smiths and sit here and go, along with yawny old Morrissey.
I always feel like lost and alone when I suddenly don't have something to do. I've sort of become a workaholic. I'm always doing something.
That does set in, like, straight after when I've actually got nothing to do. But
yeah, it feels weird. I don't even know it. Yeah, I'm sure I should get used to it and being comfortable with it, but yeah, I'm always doing something these days. Should I do another question? Do one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, one more, and then I think we got to go.
Yeah, we should go do other video game work or something. I don't know.
Chris Mansell wants to know: is there a Destructoid Giant Bomb rivalry? Game journalists seem close knit, but these guys never seem to cross paths. We never cross paths with Giant Bomb.
I've hung out with some of the Giant Bomb guys. My buddy was.
I only know. Yeah.
My buddy was an intern there. I've gone drinking with some of them. I don't know.
Is Brad Nicholson still there, Jim?
No.
Oh, okay. I like Giant Bomb when Brad Nicholson worked for them, and now that he doesn't, I forgot that Giant Bomb is a website. They're just some guys, I guess. I don't know. The
last interaction I had with them was they shot me in the face in Killzone 3. And everyone admits the fact. Everyone admits the fact that I killed them twice. It's on the video, but just because it was told from their perspective, you only ever see like them shooting me in the face. So everyone thinks Giant Bomb owned me, but I double owned them.
They marketed their shooting of you in the face better.
Damn right. It's all in the marketing. I told you before. It's Halo again. But no, I got a huge amount of respect for Jeff Gerstmann. We have only spoken a few times, but it was always fun.
That's nice.
Yeah, no animosity there. It's the game in journalism, for want of a better word, it's a lot more friendly than even the people in it think. It's like people. I think sometimes outlets think they're rivals, and then they actually talk to each other, and they're like, "Hey, we get along." So it's generally quite fun and cool. Even people I've slagged off, even people from outlets that I've slagged off and who've slagged us off, the actual writers get along.
Yeah, when they meet on the internet, sometimes you can just kind of take someone for what they wrote and not who they are, and feel a little yuck about them. But in person, it always goes well. Yeah.
Not always. Sometimes there's a person you meet who I won't name, but anyway, it's funny because there's stuff that people I really like will write, and I'll just go, "What the fuck was that?" And I'll just sort of get mad at them. I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" And it's like this weird kind of like, I wish that I was just an anonymous person on the internet so I could just go in there and go, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. This is so stupid. Why did you fucking write that, you fucking moron? You're such a loser. You should have your job taken away from you. But I can't do that because we're colleagues, we're in the same industry. We're going to see each other at events and be like, oh, how's it going? What are you playing these days?
What have you seen at the show so far?
Who are you talking about? Be discreet.
I'm not gonna fucking name any names. You already know that. It's in an email thread internally at Destructoid. We all had a big fucking group therapy, bah!
Yeah, I felt good reading that.
I got really, really drunk with my friend from IGN this weekend, Brian Altano, who did he writes some of their goofy posts that you never see because IGN's content is mixed up sometimes. But he reviewed Rayman Origins and was very well spoken in his review.
Oh, good.
We got so stupidly drunk this weekend because we're both idiots, but that's what happens.
A lot of people drink the alcohol. I went to a dance club and they played Ray Charles, and all these women were just wiggling like crazy to that Ray Charles. They weren't even dancing when we were bowling. I'm like, why are you dancing while you're bowling? Yeah, it's interesting to see people in their 20s again.
Holmes,
yeah,
I love whenever I say anything that's like, oh yeah, we totally brought out to this thing. You're always like, it's not the funniest thing, and it's like just you're like a stranger in a strange land. You're like that Martian in that book. Yeah,
yeah. I often relate with
Jubal. Explain to me what these people are doing.
Yep. Yeah, I felt that way for a long time, actually. Yeah, well, it was good answers. You guys did some good answers. People are sad we're not talking about Skyrim and Skyward Sword, though. Maybe next week, right, Jim? Maybe.
Hey,
it's like retro
dragons,
episode.
Guys.
Yep.
Quick plug.
Quick plug.
Part of what I've been working on today is a video thing, like a series I want to do of like Skyrim tips and stuff.
Oh, cool! Really?
Show. Yeah.
Wow.
So my
gonna
first
do
one's
really
going to be on archery, on being awesome at archery in Skyrim.
Oh, that's going to be so big.
So watch that on our channel later
watch
this week.
Watch our damn show. Just go subscribe to the fucking channel, assholes.
Yeah, you got an app now.
Everything that goes up there.
Droid app? You got a Droid app?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are the Android looking for droids?
You want to know what someone at my work today said? I was talking to her, like, how are you doing? How's your stay in the hospital going? She's like, if it wasn't for Beesmo, things would be a lot better. I'm like, Beesmo? Who's that? She's like, he's pretending to be a spick, but he's not. I'm like, okay, how do you even do that? She's like, well, the real problem is he raped me 5 times last night. I'm like, I'm so sorry. She's like, yeah, what a jerk.
Wow.
What did you just tell us about?
What the fuck?
Well, you're crazy. Here's the thing about being crazy that's great. People always think the thing that's great about being crazy is you think all these big things are happening. But that's fine. But when you're really crazy, big things can happen, and you just totally don't care. This woman's convinced that Beesmo, who's pretending to be a quotes spick unquotes, raped her, and rape is terrible. Raped her 5 times last night, and all she had to say about it was, "Yeah, what a jerk. Can you tell him to quit it?" I'm like, "I'm going to tell Beesmo to quit it, and tonight is going to be. I'm going to do my best to make tonight a much better night." She's like, "All right, that's cool. What's for lunch?" Just totally moving on. No big deal. It's great. Life is so much better when you're like that, man. I envy those goofballs sometimes.
Seems kind of sad.
No, it's
Like
not
a sad existence.
No, she feels much better than you. Way better. She's way more happy. She was humping a chair the other day and just huge smile on her face.
I do
She
wish.
thinks she's married to the Godfather, Marlon Brando. Convinced of it. And David Lee Roth.
You mean like old fat Marlon Brando or like young sexy Marlon Brando?
She goes to Marlon Brando from The Godfather for the money and like the relationship, and then she has classic 1989 David Lee Roth for the business. And she'll tell me, I'll have to cut her off. I put my fingers in my ears and go, no, I'm not listening. Because she'll be like, first I get the Godfather down on all fours, and then I tell David Lee Roth to take his shirt off. I'm like, I don't want to hear about it. To cut her right off. But she's having a great time. She's way happier than
Jonathan
you.
Holmes, you are a magical man, and I'm so happy that I know you. That's what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving. You're just a delight. I don't know how to put that into words properly.
Yeah,
No, I'm not. You're nice. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, thanks, Max. I appreciate it. Sometimes I say things that aren't nice, and people are surprised. But you can't hide who you really are. You gotta just say what you're thinking, and try to be good about it. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just talking about myself now. How are you?
Okay.
You guys are right.
I gotta go. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, we should go. We gotta run. All right.
Where's Jim?
Bye-bye.
Still here?
Yeah,
Bye.
man. Bye. Oh,
Bye, Jim.
bye.
Happy
We'll
Thanksgiving,
plug your
Jim.
show after you leave. We'll plug it.
Everyone, have fun. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. You too. I'll see you after Thanksgiving
Bye.
on the internet. Bye.
That's awkward.
I'm gonna plug their show real quick.
Okay.
You can see.
Sorry for the noises. For some reason, my stepson decided to open my office door and then play video games really loudly.
What
So
video game?
I think it's Dynasty Warriors. I'm good.
You're bringing it up. Right? That's good. I gotta go buy King of Fighters 13 to review it. My review copy never came.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do after we're done. I'm gonna go buy that game, start playing it.
I've still got your Tekken as well.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking
Okay,
at
we'll
it.
talk about that.
I'm not professional.
It's a real. Everyone who's already played it, which apparently, I don't know how the fighting game community does it, but every time I get a game for review, they've had the game for at least a week and a half or 2 weeks. And these aren't journalists; it's just dudes.
Oh yeah,
Somehow
people get
they
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they hate it. They hate Tekken Hybrid. They think it's awful. They're so mad about it. So we'll see how that goes. So I guess we should wrap up the show. You wanna
Yeah,
wrap
let's
it
do
up?
it.
No, okay. Yeah, let's wrap it up, Jim.
Bye video.
I'm gonna try to be you. I'm gonna try to be you. Okay. You can catch Max Scoville and Tara Long every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the Destructoid Show, where they wrap up all the hottest video game news and reviews. How was that? You can follow them on Twitter at Tara Longest and Max Scoville. Ding dong.
That's offensive.
You sound nice like that. You're sing-songy. Oh, no. You'll go like that.
You've brought the
You hit all
tone
the
right
notes.
down. You've made an enemy of me today.
Oh, come on. I think you're the best. There's a guy named Dr. Rainbow who made a comic strip of you and me getting ready to have bondage sex with green-eyed Sonic and black-eyed Sonic.
What? I haven't seen
Yep.
this.
I'm looking at it right now. I will
Where's
show it to you as
this?
soon as the show's over.
Oh.
If you're listening to the show, head to the C blogs, everybody. You'll find it. It's called Dr. Rainbow is doing a comic strip, ? Exclamation point. Unfortunately, comma, yes.
Oh,
And it's just 3 panels. It's good.
Oh.
I'm wearing a GIMP mask, so you can't really tell it's me. But you're clearly a likeness in your Jimquisition garb. You're looking quite good. You know, some people are mad that I posted that picture of Sonic and Link kissing. I didn't think that was so offensive. Is that not safe for work?
Oh,
Sonic and Link kissing?
I've posted photos of
There's no
actual.
pictures or anything.
Oh, they get really pissed off. I posted actual photographs of men kissing each other. I do it sometimes for header images because it's good. And people get upset and they're like, oh, this isn't safe for work. And I'm like, if it was a man and a woman, would it be? And then they think for a second and then go, yeah, it would be. Even though they really don't mean it. Because they love it. Because no one complained when I did 2 women once, but you do 2 men and everyone's like, oh, this isn't safe for work. My boss definitely will see it.
Right, and think that I might be gay and therefore I will be fired. I mean, what's really going to happen? If it's not pornographic, I think you're okay with not safe for work, right?
Well, at the end of the day, if you shouldn't be reading like
Destructoid?
the internet at work and looking at places where there are funny pictures of things or like potentially saucy pictures of things, like don't do it. I've had people like I did one of 2 guys kissing and someone said, oh, excuse me, I'm at work, and then I said, well, get back to fucking work.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it.
By the way, that comic is amazing.
Oh yeah, you just found it.
Sonic Genitals, it's called.
It's gonna happen. I mean, that's I think it's an ongoing series, so we'll see what happens next. I'm excited. Thank you, Dr. Rainbow. It's very good.
That is, you go on the community blogs on Destructoid.com if you want to look at funny pictures.
Yeah, there are some good stuff. Someone did, I'm blanking on who did it. It's sad because they did such a good job. They did the worst fan art compilation, and it's just scrolling down for miles and miles, but there's the Kentucky Fried Chicken Colonel with Sephiroth at like a family gathering, and there's Thomas the Tank Engine like getting angry that Misty and Ash from Pokemon are making out, and so much good stuff. It's amazing. Yeah, look for that in the C-Blogs, people. The C-Blogs are underrated. That's where I got my start, and a lot of better writers than me got their start there too. It's a great place to be. Go take a look. Okay. And should we plug our shows? You should plug your show, Jim.
Yeah. First of all, you can go on Destructoid.com for written content from all of your favourite Destructoid pals. Otherwise, you can see the Jimquisition at escapistmagazine.com every Monday, which is a show I do. Jonathan Holmes has stuff in the works. I mean, we're talking to women is kind of wrapped up now, but have you got anything cooking that you want to plug?
Well, we've got the Talking to Women About Video Games song, and over the next week or 2, I'm going to try to make a music video for it that I'm hoping will be kind of like Lesko's Revenge, that old animation from 2001, mixed with a Rod Stewart video. So we're trying to do that. And then we might be making a show. I've talked about it on Twitter a little bit. Jim's going to be involved with it, called Teenage Pokemon. Yep. If that happens, keep an eye peeled for it. And I think that's everything. Hopefully Talking to Women About Video Games will come back. People are really wanting to be on the show all of a sudden. I had like trouble getting people to actually be on the show, and I did it. And now I'm getting all these emails asking people asking to be on season 2. So by popular demand, it probably will exist again someday, I hope.
Always the way.
Yeah,
they'll stop volunteering the second you start it again.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It is nice that someone seemed to not hate it and wanted to actually be on it. That's nice. Yeah.
Okay. That's it then.
We've done it.
Yeah, we did it, guys. Thank you all again for
Oh, wait, someone wants to know.
Oh, God.
Lewis Dunn wants to know if you're a good dad. Jim is a great dad, Lewis Dunn. I'm just answering one more question, sorry.
Well, that's before I beat him silly, which I'm about to do.
Okay, yeah, sorry I interrupted you.
I'm not joking.
Was that Rorschach?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Close enough.
Yeah. It was satire, Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
Thank you for listening to the show. Goodbye.
Yes. And you stopped recording?
I will do in a second.
Oh, okay, if you want to.
I'll do it now.
Okay.
Right. I'm not afraid. I'll do it right fucking now.